What is up, everybody? Liam Murphy back from Fantasy Fest in Key West. Had a great time down there. Got killed in the tournament DFS streets. Didn't play enough, I guess, just chalk together. Didn't have the Kamara and Tyreek doubles. I mean, I had enough Miami doubles, but I guess just didn't jam it with Kamara. Had a lot of AJ Brown too, so kind of a annoying slate if I'm being honest, but that's in the past. You guys know on this channel we talk through game by game DFS. Not exactly going to hit you with too much data, too much ownership. There's plenty of other bigger platforms out there for that. Just going to give you my thoughts and what I plan to do this week. So let's jump into it. Guys have a great weekend. Like I'm planning to have the best weekend of my life. All right. So jumping right into a game close to home, the Bills at the Jets. Now, this game's a little bit more interesting than usual because A, the Jets don't suck on paper, and B, the Bills not only have some injuries they're dealing with, but we have questions of how the Bills are going to attack the Jets. So Josh Allen, I don't think you need to overthink this. If we can get a slate like last week where Jalen Hurts wasn't too high owned because of all the cheap options, then that's great because I think Josh Allen's a great play still. Not afraid of this Jets defense. Zach Wilson's obviously a no. But the question is, who is Sauce Gardner going to guard for the Jets? Because if Sauce Gardner does what the Packers did, where if we remember what they did is they put Jair Alexander on Gabriel Davis of the Bills. And he only covered Stephon Diggs 3 times total. So Stephon Diggs did all this work against not their number one corner. Now, teams do this a lot because they think, hey, we'll have our number one shut down their number 2, and then we can double cover with a corner and a safety on the number 1. So that's what the Packers did. Are the Jets going to do the same thing? It didn't work. Are they going to have Sauce Gardner cover Gabe Davis? And Stephon Diggs is like in the slot and whatnot. Stephon Diggs is playing a lot more in the slot this year. Something you like to see. It makes it hard for these outside corners like Sauce Gardner to shadow them and lock them down. Or Sauce Gardner going to cover up on Diggs. I don't really know. What I do know is I don't really want to be playing the wide receiver who is facing Sauce, and I want to be jamming the other wide receiver. So I'm going to be building teams with both wide receivers. My intuition is that the Jets will have Sauce lock up on Diggs. And teams are just like straight up not targeting this guy. Now, I don't think Sauce Gardner is a good matchup for Diggs. And I do think he's a good matchup for Davis because they're both like big, tall guys. Diggs wins with route running. So I don't think Sauce is necessarily going to lock down Diggs at all, but maybe he could do it to Davis. Nyheim Hines, I think it's like way too short of a trade to start playing him. Singletary is a fine play. Should get a lot of work. You can beat the Jets. The other most interesting player to me is I don't think we can really fool around with McKenzie or Shakir. You know, like you go ahead, take a dart on Shakir if you want. But like neither's really getting the work right now. Dawson Knox, though, definitely interested. 3,500. Nothing crazy in the target boxes. Will be way lower owned than Higbee. Touchdown dependent position. So in a game that the Bills are 11.5 point favorites, 46 over under. I mean, like Zach Wilson could have 3 picks in his own red zone, and the Bills just get 3 extra red zone opportunities. So who does that help? That helps players like Knox, etc. So Knox, very interested in. Jets players, God bless you. I'm not doing it. If I had to play a Jet, I'd play Michael Carter. Got 7 targets last week. Should get a lot this week. Defense, obviously the Bills D is the best play. I don't think the Jets are a terrible play. I don't think they're a good play, but they are the Stone Min and no other defenses. So interested in both defenses. Tyler Conklin. Yeah, I wouldn't go there against the Bills. So, yeah, I mean, the question is, is this a Josh Allen, Diggs, Davis week? Is this a Josh – I'm leaning more to Josh Allen, Diggs, Knox, or Josh Allen, Davis, Knox type week. All right, moving on. Indy at New England. By the way, guys, I usually do these on Fridays or Thursdays, so fuck it. We're doing Saturday this week. This game is a 40 over-under, and the Patriots are 5.5-point favorites. So, not too interested in either of the quarterbacks. If I had to play one, I would play Mac. He's actually doing a little bit more on the ground than you would think. Ellinger, I think we just need to see it first. He just played a terrible defense and did nothing. Running back, Ramondre, great play. It should be noted that, this box score is not who this player is, though. Damian Harris played a lot last week in a game that they were not trailing, and I would expect that to be the case. I don't expect Damian to go away. So, this slate's going to come down to a couple of, these ETNs, these Walkers. I think Stevenson is clearly the third best between Walker and ETN. Deion Jackson, chalk, 5,200. Now, the big question with Deion is, were these 10 targets a product of Matt Ryan, or were they a product of Sam Ellinger? So, I'll be playing some Deion. I mean, he's just cheap, so he opens up a lot of salary, but he's only $1,000 less than ETN, than Walker. So you got to think through, how many times does that $1,000 salary make up the difference that Deion Jackson scores less than ETN, Walker, etc. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be this. Let's look up Taylor's. Taylor got 1 target last week, and Hines got 2 targets with Ellinger. So, I mean, quarterbacks like Ellinger, they might not just chuck it down. So maybe Deion Jackson actually is not a good play. Zach Moss, I don't think he'll play enough. Wide receiver, you can play Jacoby Myers. Gets a lot of work each week. I'll play some Alec Pierce. I'll play. Yeah, it's really those two at wideout. It's pretty ugly. Oh, and Tyquan. I'll be playing some Tyquan. Playing a lot of snaps. He's cheap. One of the only cheap guys. Athletic freak. So Pittman, no. So it's really Tyquan I'm most interested in. And then the other guys are fine if they fit the team. Tight end. Hunter Henry is back to obscurity. Jonnu Smith. No, no one is playable here. How did it shake out between these tight ends? Yeah, so Granson got the targets last week. Pulled the wrong one there. I want Woods. Yeah, so Granson saw 3 targets. I mean, what are we doing with that, guys? So, pretty ugly game overall. Defense, I'm interested in the Colts defense at 2,700. This game I'm really interested in, this Minnesota-Washington game. On many sides. So this game is a 43.5 over-under, and the Vikings are 3-point favorites on the road. Most interested in Heineke at 54. Just pretty cheap, playing pretty good against some better defenses, and this Vikings team can be beat in the air. So I expect Heineke and his main guy, Terry McLaurin, to have a big game and going to be playing a lot of them. So Cousins, Should be low owned, playable, fine. Heineke, I'll play some Heineke teams. At running back, like Brian Robinson is just like, he needs like the perfect game script. Gibson, on the other hand, got a bunch of targets, so he is interesting at 55. Dalvin Cook, expensive, fine. Looks like he's back to his workhorse ways. Like Madison fell in the end zone, but not getting that much. So most interested in Gibson. Jefferson, I like a lot, obviously, and Terry. Those are the two I like the most this week. A little bit of KJ Osborne, and kind of curious, like how Curtis Samuel's role is going to morph with Heineke rather than Wentz. It's kind of bizarre, but like he's getting this rushing work again. His target totals are a little down, so I don't know. I think he's still capable of big games, but he's less of a good click. And Terry's a great click, like 8 targets each down the field, getting long passes. The Vikings can be beat deep. I think he'll be popular, but I'll be playing quite a bit of Terry. Tight end. I don't think you can play Hawkinson right on the trade. Logan Thomas, I'm interested in, but I'm going to want to go back and look at Heineke box scores to see how he's worked with Logan Thomas in the past. Because he was healthy last week, just got 0 targets. And then, defense. If I had to play a D, I'd play the Commanders. Small chance Chase Young plays this week, but anytime you're facing a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, a statue guy, you can get interceptions, you can get strip sack fumbles. So moving through this slate a little quick today, guys. I want to go enjoy my Saturday. I'm sure you guys do too. All right, the Chargers-Falcons game. This game's pretty interesting. I think it's a fun slate. When other people think the slate is ugly, we like it. So Chargers only 3-point favorites, 49.5 over under on the road. I think Herbert and Mariota are both squarely in play. The thesis of Herbert is off the bye, how healthy are his ribs? Because I think he's still an elite player. I think his ribs have really been look at these, how short these passes have been going. That's a big byproduct of no Mike Williams, no Keenan Allen, dump offs to Austin Eckler. So Herbert is a great play. Mariota, the thesis for him is that you can beat the Chargers on the ground, and the Falcons do not want to throw the ball. So if he can be closer to like 10 attempts on the ground, because this is a beatable team in the ground. And he threw 3 touchdowns last week. I said last week, I'll be playing some Mariota. He scores 25 at 5K, that's 5x salary. So, if he can have this box score, but we shift 1 to a rushing touchdown or 2, he will have a 2 rushing touchdown game this year. All of a sudden, he's like a 30, 35 point player, and you just need him to win. So I could see Mariota, and the great thing about Mariota is, great and bad, is you can just bring him back with no one. Now, the bad thing about that is it's harder to pick the pieces, but let's jump into skill players. Eckler, obviously a great play. He should see target totals like this, period. No Allen, no Mike Williams. They're going to be thrown to Eckler. Now, the Atlanta situation is interesting. If Patterson's out, I'm interested in Algier, who's just getting solid rushing attempts against a beatable team on the ground and got some targets last week. If Patterson's back, well, then I'm going to want to play some Patterson. And apparently we're going to find that out today. So, and I would not want to play Algier. So I don't know. I think both are playable. Both are in a good spot. Josh Palmer is going to be the chalk play. It's kind of interesting where no longer are we having these 3K chalk wide receivers. It's more like these 4,500 to 5K cheap chalk guys. But Josh Palmer without Mike Williams and Keenan are going to be popular. I'll be playing some of him. Drake London, I think, is fine. Even in a 3 touchdown game, couldn't get anything going. Michael Bandy got 6 targets. He has a downfield role. So he'll be 1% owned again. And I think you fire him up in some of your Charger stacks. And then, I don't think you can be chasing Damiere Byrd, even though I draft him in best ball every year. But the other guy is Carter. He plays the slot for the Chargers, so has shown almost no ceiling other than week 1 where he caught a touchdown, but hey. And then Gerald Everett, probably going to be super chalky in a great play. Tight ends against Atlanta are just absolutely killing it, averaging 15 points a game or something. So Everett should have a big game. Kyle Pitts, back from the dead. I think he's a fine button to press. Could hit 2 of those. Thanks. And yeah, the defenses, probably play the Falcons defense if I had to play a defense, where a lot of times what happens in DFS is I also have this other cool hat, not to get off tangent. Let me guys know what you think. Do you like the green hat or do you like the blue hat? The Falcons defense is an interesting team to click because they're going to be low owned, I would bet. And a lot of times what happens is when teams have all of their offensive players ruled out, they people just try to find the replacement. So they try to play Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter. Sometimes what happens is the Chargers without Keenan Allen, Mike Williams suck. And you want to actually just be playing the Falcons defense and not fool around with playing Carter and Palmer. So I think the Falcons are a good click because of that. People are not excited to click the Falcons. They just traded away a bunch of players too. But one possible outcome of this game is that the Chargers off the bye are not good without Big Mike and Keenan. So interesting button there. Miami, Chicago. This game has a 45.5 over under and a bit of a stalker in here, gents. Thanks, Annie. The Dolphins, Bears, 45.5 over under. The Dolphins are 4-point favorites. So this game's interesting because I'm assuming is Annie your burner, Liam? Yes, good point, Carlos. What's up, Carlos? This game's interesting because I feel like people are going to play this game like Miami's facing Detroit. And yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Waddle and Tyreek are insane, and they're in good spots. But I don't think it is kind of surprising. Yeah, but I mean, the reason is because I don't think this is as good a spot. I'm not going to be jamming Tyreek for sure. I'm just not. You guys slam your balls on the table every once in a while, and I'm calling it bad Tyreek game. Now I'll play a little of him if I'm going to max the $20 Milli maker, but I don't know if Tyreek's going to be 30% owned in a worse spot, not in the dome, at Chicago, in a team where one outcome of this game is that the Bears get first downs with Justin Fields' legs and the ground game, and that just takes the ball out of Tyreek and Waddle's hands. So, Mostert, kind of an interesting spot. He could have a bounce back week. Jeff Wilson just got traded, so maybe he got banged up on the first play of the game, gained 12 yards, first play of the game, and then did all this in garbage time. I know because I played him all over DFS last week. So yeah, I'm not playing Tua. Fields, I don't know how you don't have interest in playing him at this rate. Dude is just doing it on the ground. He's close to the bonus in past 3 games, and he's doing better in the air, and they just got Chase Claypool. So very interested in Fields against a beatable Miami team. And their best course of action is, moving it on the ground. So Herbert got a lot of work last week. It's just hard to play these guys. They're getting an even work, Montgomery and Herbert, but sure, go crazy. Click one in Milli Maker. I think Mooney's a fine click. They're going to need first downs. And the real question is how involved is Chase Claypool this week? I'm not going to be playing him probably. I'd probably play Mooney more, but I think Mooney and Claypool really fit Fields' game, where Fields can throw the deep ball, scramble around, and that's what Claypool and Mooney could do. They can both catch the deep ball. So tight end, Mike Gesicki back down to earth with Durham Smythe back in the game. So I think everyone's unplayable here. And then defense, if I'm playing a defense, I'm playing the Bears D. Sucks that they got rid of Robert Quinn because they don't have anyone. But hey, at home, cheap, they could do it. So yeah, fading that game pieces, the Miami pieces, is going to be a big. I'm just going to try to do that. Try to get different than people. And hey, if Tyreek and Waddle go for 40, I lose. All right. But let's look at that real quick, actually. So instead of Tyreek, you could play Justin Jefferson, who I would play straight up over Tyreek. You could play Diggs. You can play Eckler. You know, like it's like Tyreek are these names, and it's hard. Might be windy, Sean says. All right, moving on. Carolina, Cincinnati. 42.5 over under. Bengals are 7.5 point favorites. So Jamar Chase is out again. And this kind of speaks to what I was saying with the Atlanta D being playable this week against the Chargers, where Jamar Chase was out. We thought no big deal. Wrong. The Bengals got their ass kicked on Halloween against the Browns without Chase. Higgins saw 6 targets. Really disappointing from him, honestly. Boyd saw 5 targets. Burrow aired it out 35 times. Joe Mixon got a lot of work in the past game, 9 targets, so like a bunch of checkdowns. So I don't know how you can be too interested in these pass game pieces. Mixon obviously squarely in play. If he's going to be seeing like 9 targets, like you got to put him in play. DJ Moore should be high owned, is a good play, seeing good targets. Looks like their quarterback is better too. PJ Walker, he's just not doing it on the ground like he can. So need like insane efficiency. I think Foreman is fine, but I don't really love targeting this Bengals D. But he is a bruiser. Hubbard's out again. Blackshear, they're just like not giving any work to. At tight end, Hurst definitely in play. I don't think you could play the Panthers guys. And then, yeah, very interested in the Panthers D. Very interested in them. Oh, yeah, I should mention that. The two, Terrace Marshall obviously is an option. Saw 9 targets. They're like sideline type throws. So it's I just think it's going to be hard for him to reach bonuses. Like in a game where how many times did PJ air it out? 36 attempts, 19 completions. Like that's pretty high for PJ, I feel. You know, like 36 last week against Atlanta, who you could beat in the air, 22 the week before, 16 the week before. So, and an anomaly, I think, last week. So, I'm not chasing Terrace Marshall. I will be playing a little bit of LaVisca, though, because he's 3,300. So, he's the same price as Tyquan. So, I basically build teams with Tyquan, teams with LaVisca, and just submit both. But saw 6 targets. Catches screens, can do it there. So a little interested in LaVisca just because of his price. Tight end, Hurst is obviously a fine play. A little disappointing to see more work without Chase. None of the Panthers guys. And then, yeah, Panthers D, 2,300. Maybe the Bengals still suck without Chase. So, and this Panthers defense is like not bad. You know, like they got beat up on the ground in one game and they've been fine other than that. Visca isn't running enough routes now. Well, hey, maybe that goes up. I mean, we can look it up. Do your own research, but we'll look it up real quick. Let's look this up. Is Nathan Jenke of PFF? He's usually the guy I look for the routes. Week 8 recap. And we want the Falcons and Panthers. I think, yeah, I mean, something that we did where we looked at that PJ Walker, like the amount of snaps I think the Panthers played was abnormal compared to the usual. But LaVisca, Yeah, so whatever. He played 23 snaps, ran 11 routes. So, I mean, it really depends how you look at this, Joey, because on the bright side, ran 11 routes, saw 6 targets. So almost a 50% target percentage for route run. So you could look at Shi Smith over here, who maybe he's just like a field stretcher, and you could say, hey, let's give this guy who's useless Laviska's work. Clearly, Moore and Marshall are the top two, but to me, it looks like Laviska and Shi are probably competing for the slot. And if the Panthers get down big against the Bengals, which is very possible, well, then maybe Laviska gets more work in the slot. They have to run more 3 wide because you can see that they're running this 2 tight end nonsense. And then, yeah, the Spencer Brown is a tackle. I don't even know who Spencer Brown is for Panthers. So whatever. He got 6 attempts. This is a good resource looking at this, or there's like many websites like this, but just kind of like seeing the targets and the route runs and whatnot there. So I think playing Laviska at 3,300, you're not looking at the routes run and saying, hey, that's what we expect it to be. Obviously, you're hoping it goes up and the team rewards him for being heavily targeted when he's on the field. So, all right, Green Bay, Detroit is a game with a 49.5 over under. Packers are 3.5 point favorites at home. Aaron Rodgers definitely in play at 5,900. I think he's going to be pretty popular though. And Jared Goff, not the spot to me, but he's in the dome, so he could always do it. Aaron Jones going to be very popular, is a good play. The Packers last week against the Bills were determined to lose by the smallest rather than win. They're playing in the dome. Aaron Jones has a game every year against Detroit in the dome. It's like literally insane. DeAndre Swift, if he plays, is one of my favorite plays on the slate where you can beat this Packers team on the ground. So if Swift is in, I know he's not getting he's splitting work with Jamal, but this is a type of game where Swift can break 3-4 long runs and just be a piece you need to have and bury the chalk around him. But it's going to be chalk ETN. It's going to be chalk Ken Walker, maybe chalk Ramondre. So Swift at $200 more expensive or $100 more should be lower owned, is in a timeshare, so that should suppress ownership and just has a massive ceiling. If Swift is out, same thing can be said for Jamal. He's just not as explosive, but he has the goal line role. Dylan, got to be brave to click him, but Milli Maker Field, go for it. Wide receiver, Amon-Ra, a great click this week, and I'll be playing him. Definitely some Amon-Ra Jones minis or Amon-Ra Swift Jones minis. I like that. Going to need to monitor the Lazard health. If he plays, he's a fine play. If he doesn't, then the other Green Bay guys are like Dobbs, Watkins, etc. Detroit side, Jesus Christ. It's like Amon-Ra. It's Raymond, who's seen fine target totals. I guess Reynolds is out now. Chark's out. I don't even know. And they just traded away Hawkinson, which is kind of significant for these guys like Amon-Ra, etc. Robert Tonyan is a good play in the dome. And then whoever picks up this slack for, again, do this research on your own time, but just run through, look at the snaps. Whoever picks up the work for the departed Hawkinson, color me interested at 2,500. What's up, Foster Broad? I like your name. I don't know what it means, but I'll look this up. And guys, at tight end, always they have to be athletic. You cannot play a tight end who's not athletic. It just doesn't work in the NFL. So, and then defense, Lions D's priced up in this spot, so probably not here, but I don't know. Pretty interesting game. And I think, it's interesting that people will be back on Rodgers against the Vikings. And I don't know if we want to necessarily stack Rodgers up, like probably just Aaron Jones or bust. All right, this game is a 47.5 over under, and the Jaguars are 2-point dogs at home. Great spot for ETN. We just saw ETN's ceiling profile, Kamara, destroy the destroy the Raiders, and now ETN should be able to do the same thing. He is clearly being like this against a good Denver team. They leaned on him. So I'm going to eat the ETN chalk. Josh Jacobs, I could see being lower owned and massive leverage off of this ETN chalk. And also, I think you could play Jacobs and ETN in the same lineup if you want. It's not something where like one gets there, the other one can't. But in a just like terrible game by the Raiders, he had a floor outcome. You can beat the Jaguars on the ground. You can score on the Jaguars. Devontae Adams is going to be really low owned, and I don't know. It takes like this Jaguars team has some good pass rush pieces. Kirk is way too cheap. Should be pretty popular. I like him like I like Terry McLaurin. So I'll be playing some of him. I probably will skip on these quarterbacks, but I'd rather play like Fields and Mariota. But if I had to play one, I'd play Trevor. And then Renfro's whatever. Waller, we need to see if he's playing. If he's not, then Foster Moreau is a good play. I think Hasty got some work. Yeah, he got some targets. He got some attempts. So if they get down big, like if they got down real big, I could see Hasty having a game. So maybe that's something we stash for the future. Abdullah got some work he got some work in the pass game with the Raiders being down big. But Zay Jones is like the salary relief where it's totally fine to play ETN and Zay Jones minis. I've built some teams like that. His work last week was discouraging, but that's against a really good Denver corner duo. Not the case in the Raiders. So I like Zay Jones plenty. Can do the same thing with Marvin. I'm just ageist, so I don't like Marvin as much. And then, Evan Ingram and Moreau are good plays. If Evan Ingram is just fine. He should be pretty high owned, 3,300 green box. I'm pretty sure the Raiders played Travis Kelce and Andrews, though. Like, that's something you can do. If you guys, for those who watch the channel, if you remember when I looked at the week I jammed Mahomes against the 49ers and he was not popular, I looked at who the 49ers had played, and it was like they played like all the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. So obviously their defense is overrated, right? Because when you play Justin Fields and you play like Mac Jones, and then all of a sudden you have to play like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, it's like, whoa, this defense is not as good. But that's an advantage you can get on that, is just like looking through who teams have actually played to see if these like OPR rank numbers are warranted or not. Defense, interested in the Jaguars, like 3,100, a little bit more expensive than I usually like to play. But if I had to play defense, I'd be playing them. They can get sacks. This Raiders team, like, legit might have quit on the coach too. That happens around this point of the year where the Raiders probably thought they were good and now they're disappointed. And like, I could see players definitely quitting. Other than that, I mean, so the question is like, are you playing ETN chalk? And there's a couple theories of thought where ETN at 6,300. One theory is just play a different running back at 6,300-ish. So like an example would be you could just play DeAndre Swift at 6,400. Now, a better way to leverage the chalk, I think, is to play a running back in a different price range. So instead of playing ETN, you either pay up at running back or you pay down. And now the whole roster you're building is different than the field. Now, if you direct swap ETN for Swift, your whole roster is the same. It's just one player is different. So one allows you to get a lot different than the field. So if you're not playing ETN, just try to play like Josh Jacobs. Just a running back, $1,000 more. It will have trickle-down effects, and your whole team will be different. Seattle at Arizona, one of the last two games, probably one of the more popular games that people will stack up if health permits. 49 over-under. Cardinals are 2-point favorites at home. A little surprising to me. Both quarterbacks squarely in play. Murray a little bit more unlocked with Hopkins back. And he did it on the ground last time they played. Geno has just been really solid. Like, really solid. Needs to be efficient, though. Like, needs these 3 touchdown weeks to have a chance to get in, like, GPP winning teams. Ken Walker, great play. Going to be high owned. I mean, dude's a beast. Doesn't see as much pass game work as we like. So he'll be, like, less popular than ETN. But how do you not, 21, 23, 18? He's getting all the work. And I think the Seahawks will win. Unplayable if James Conner is back. Game time decision is looking at. Darrell Williams played last week. I guess he's on IR again. Okay. Well, he did play last week, and I knew that was notable. I knew that would be notable for just because, like, he's a guy I'm still holding in some season-long high-stakes leagues, because I know that when he's on the field, like, look, he got work last week. 5 attempts, 3 targets. That's a lot of work. But I guess he's now on just out for the next 4, I guess. So that's noteworthy. That puts Keontae Ingram back in play if Connor is out. If Connor's out too, then Eno is a great play. But we just saw him kind of just like the running back you want against Seattle to me is a running back like Ken Walker, like a big, strong, fast guy. And that is not that's not Eno. Keontae Ingram is a big guy though, so maybe he could have a good game. Wide receiver, Hopkins, great play, obviously. Absurd target totals. Got a touchdown last week. Plus matchup for him. Metcalf, it seems to be fully healthy. And Lockett seems to be fully healthy. If we remember, Arizona's not really a team you beat with outside wide receivers. It's why the week that this game was chalk, I faded the Arizona outside wide receivers, and they disappointed. Now, they were a little bit banged up, but it means that Disley and specifically Fant are a little bit better plays against Arizona. Like we saw, Fant got 7 targets this week. So who you stack with on the Arizona side, I think it's interesting. Rondale Moore got a lot of targets on the outside. His natural position is the slot, so not sure how that's going to shake out with him, but Robbie Anderson, the question is this who he is? Or is he, like, does he just need more games to get up to speed? If Robbie Anderson can be on the field and running go routes and get like 5 targets a game, I'll play some. And hopefully it just took him a couple weeks, but I'll probably play like 1 or 2 Robbie teams. No one else is like really playable here. Tight end, Ertz is fine. Very expensive. He's not as good a play anymore. Disley and Fant, good plays. Defense. Seahawks defense, one of my favorite defenses on the slate. They're cheap. They're better than people think. They've gotten sacked in the last 3 games. I think that like they have like rookie D linemen or something that are fine. And Arizona, this is not a team to be afraid of. All right, guys, last game. Let's carry it through here. 42.5 over under. Bucks are 3-point favorites. Minor interesting thing too, by the way, guys. Only 2 afternoon games this week. So you can either build leaving some afternoon pieces and swap from the more popular game to the less popular game. Or you can just build all early, or you can build all late and hope everything fails. Both quarterbacks are fine. Like, both are probably going to have a bad game, but I could see them both, digging deep, getting one here. Fournette is like unplayable if this is his workload the past 2 weeks, where White has like equal targets. So too expensive. The Rams side is a fucking mess, man. Like, Rivers is getting usage. They want to use Kyron Williams as soon as he's activated. Henderson, I guess, is hurt or something. Cam Akers is in a fight or so. I don't know, man. So I don't know. If I had to play a running back here, I'd play White. Wide receiver, obviously the big guys are in play. Cup was banged up and fine. I would guess that Seahawks is the chalk D. Here, let's take a look at that. I would guess Seahawks is the cash game D. If not them, then I would guess the Panthers are the next chalk D. Just because we just saw the Bengals fall on their face and they're kind of better than people think, and they're 2,300. And if not them, I guess it's like the Colts, where they're just facing Mac Jones. Or maybe some like sickos are jamming the Jets because it allows the optimizer to have some. But yeah, I would guess Seattle D is the highest owned. And I think the Falcons D, great leverage. Anyways, finishing through this game, Cup was banged up, seems healthy now, but I don't know if he's 100%, had some like foot injury. Really interested in Godwin, just solid target totals. And maybe the field is like finally off him. 6,200, he's affordable. He's also the same price as the chalk running backs in Ramondre, in ETN, and in Ken Walker. So that could maybe make Godwin a little bit less popular, where you could like build a team, for example, with Godwin in the flex and a team with like Ken Walker in the flex. And basically, if the team did well in the early games, you swap from Ken Walker to Godwin because he'll be less owned. And if the team does bad, you swap to Godwin. I don't know if I said that backwards. If your team did good, you swap to Ken Walker and you can eat the chalk. If your team did bad, you swap to the lower owned Godwin. Anyways, I like Godwin. Mike Evans is fine too. Again, solid target totals. Like Brady's going to have a game eventually. So maybe this is the spot where the field will finally be off him to play him. Like you don't want to be playing these statue guys at high ownership, but Allen Robinson, God bless you if you can click this name. I cannot. Julio Jones, squarely in play if healthy. He's like, I don't know how healthy he is, but if he is healthy, I'm interested in him. And then Van Jefferson got no work last week. I think he ran like half the snaps. I don't know. I got to look through it. But tight end, Higbee, I'm going to guess is going to be the chalk tight end on the slate. Only 3,700. Got no work last week against San Fran. Cade Otton is a good tight end. However, tight ends against the Rams have not been getting there, whether that's because of Bobby Wagner or because of Aaron Donald. I don't know, but makes me not want to play Cade Otton. But I could totally see like a Brady, Evans, Godwin stack finally getting there. And you either throw in like Cup or you throw in Higbee. And then the whole field is tilted because they finally stopped playing the Brady doubles and Brady throws for 400. So, all right, guys, that's what I got this week. Let's build a Milli Maker team here. Don't dupe me. Throw it. Give me a quarterback, guys, and we'll build a team. Who's my QB? Help me out. You guys want to see a Josh Allen? You want to see a Mariota, a Fields team? You want to see a Tom Brady team? You want to see Fields? Star Kindler says. All right. Easy enough. So let's play Fields. And I think with that, we want to find the bring back on Miami. So let's see. Sorry, guys. You're too slow. Too slow. Got to beat Star Kindler. Slow. So we need to bring back, I think. Like, I don't think Fields is a guy that we necessarily want to be playing naked. Now, I said I wasn't too interested in Tyreek, but when we're playing Fields, kind of feel like we have to get there. If we don't play Tyreek, I think the other thing we can do is we play Mostert, where we hope that basically the hope is that Mostert breaks a couple long runs. The field got burnt by him. He was 25% owned. He did nothing last week. He's the same price as all these chalk running backs. So I like Mostert and the Fields bring back where, yeah, both of them are going to like move the ball on the ground. So that kind of takes away play clock. But we're getting different because we're not playing the Tyreek guys. We're getting different because Mostert's going to be really low owned this week. And Mostert could be sweating with Jeff Wilson just traded to the team. And he's like, fuck, I got to show out. So let's do a Fields, Mostert. And let's get Mooney in there too. The de facto wide receiver 1. And I think Fields will be pretty high owned, but I think the people building him are not going to build like this. The people building with him are going to be like Fields and then like Tyreek. All right, so that leaves us with 5,600. Let's jam a defense in there. Let's play the Falcons D. Really low owned team here. So that leaves us with 6,300 each. Let's get a tight end. Let's get Knox in there. So we're at 6,900. Nice. Let me get nice in the chat. Nice. Nice. Pretty quick, Liam. Oh, wait. So 6,900 per player. Let's get some of the guys we like in here. Let's get in Godwin. Let's play the chalk ETN. Those are 7,500 each. So we could play. Let's get Terry McLaurin in. And that allows us to play whoever we want. So we have some salary relief here. Do we want to do the Terry Jefferson mini or no, let's not play Eckler with the Falcons D. So let's throw in Jefferson and then let's just maybe jam a better defense. It's either upgrade from Godwin. There's no real upgrades. Or let's get up. No one's going to be playing these expensive Ds. So, we could play the Chargers D instead against the Falcons, which they can always get there. Yes, Carlos, I did respond to my own comment because the chat let me down. All right, so that's one option. Let's throw Jefferson over here and see what kind of running back is out there too. So maybe Amon-Ra is the guy we play. Yeah, I like this. Amon-Ra burnt the field again last week. Probably should be highly played with Aaron Jones teams. So by not doing that, I guess it's a little different. And then defense-wise, we could go up to the Bucks D, which is fine. I would play the Jaguars over the Falcons, but I don't know if I'm gonna play the Bucks over them. So yeah, I think this is the team, guys. And if you want to dupe this team, quote unquote, don't dupe it. Just play the team with Walker or the team with Stevenson. And that way we all win, guys. I get the lower owned Mostert, and you guys get to play the better players. You get to play Walker. You get to play Stevenson. And yeah, so we're going to throw Mostert to get our little stack in. So we got ETN chalk. We got Fields, who I'm going to guess is going to be at least like 10%, 10 to 15. Mostert probably coming in at like 1 to 5% this week. Mooney, maybe 7. Jefferson and Terry, pretty high. Each 10, 15. Knox, maybe 7. Amon-Ra, sub 10 this week. Falcons, sub 10. So pretty good team, guys. That's our team for this week. If you guys enjoy this free content, if you could smash that subscribe button, help me out. I'm almost at 1,200 subscribers. And I plan to start my chess content pretty soon. I was kind of debating, like, am I going to do chess on a new YouTube? Am I going to do it on this YouTube? Let me know what you think there. Should I do a new YouTube? Should I keep it separated? I'm trying to get back into my chess game, to be honest. So looking forward to it. I like this team, guys. We got individual pieces in Knox, Amon-Ra, and ETN. We have a mini game stack in McLaurin and Jefferson. And we got a game stack in Fields, Mostert, Mooney. Yeah, it's like that's what I kind of think. But then I got to grind up a new channel. And I don't want like football people to be like, I don't care about this chess. And I don't want chess people to be like, I don't care about this football and like turn off from my channel. So, anyways, guys, have a great day. Hope you enjoyed this free show. I'll be back next week for the same 2 shows as always, going through the pick'ems, the NFL pick'ems, and going through the DFS slate, probably with a guest next week, get a guest back in the house. I would do an underdog pick'em, or I'll just show you guys my underdog pick'ems. I would do one with you guys right now, but I already made some for this week. So let's show the pick'ems I got. And I don't know if the lines have changed or something. You guys got to research that on your own. Live pick'ems. So we got 2 ones. We really degened this week, guys. We threw the rest of the balance in. This one, Underdog recently let you do 20x the bet. So this one we took the higher on Amon-Ra receiving yards, the lower on Joe Mixon rushing yards, like hopefully he gets a lot of checkdowns, the higher on Gabe Davis receiving, the higher on Ken Walker receiving, and the lower on Garrett Wilson receiving. So 3 highers, 2 lowers, mixed it up. And then this one, we did a higher on the Aaron Jones rushing and receiving, higher on Mac Jones rushing, higher on DeAndre receiving, higher on ETN rushing and receiving, and then higher on Scary Terry receiving. So I don't know. I feel good about these. I've had some success with just like playing the chalk guys early in the week. So like Aaron Jones, ETN, like those are going to be chalky players in DFS. Anyways, guys, have a great day. See you later. I need some more coffee.